Imagine spending hundreds of pounds to attend a wedding, only to be publicly uninvited after the ceremony started. I'm Alice King, your official Reddit baddie. Grab a snack, get comfortable, and enjoy the chaos. I, 24 female, was just uninvited from a wedding that had already started. Am I overreacting? I cannot even imagine. That's just crazy. Today, my 24 male partner and I, 24 female, let's call him Eric, were invited to a wedding of one of his oldest friends from school. We received our save to date months ago, and the invite was addressed to Eric and Vicky. You weren't even a +1, your name was on the invitation. Our invite stated that we were invited for the whole shebang, the service, the breakfast, and the evening reception.
I do.
Our RVSP required both of our dietary requirements for the breakfast, which we replied to ages ago. I thought this was pretty awesome and generous of the bride and groom, as I had never met either of them and Eric was only close with the bride, so it was a very nice gesture. I think it should be normalized for guests to bring their significant others to weddings. The wedding is a few hours away from where we live, and since neither of us drive, I booked train tickets in advance, which came out about £60 each returned, and an Airbnb, which worked out at £90 between us. We don't earn a lot, so this is quite a big spend to justify. However, since they had invited us to the whole wedding, we thought it would be rude not to go. The bride also specified colors we should wear, so I bought a new outfit since I didn't have anything formal that would be suitable. Not the end of the world, but with Christmas coming up, it was a bit difficult, and I had to be really frugal all through November to make it work. Total spend was probably double what I would spend monthly on fun stuff like going out for dinner or drinks or new clothes. So you did your absolute best when it was pretty hard for you to afford everything. We got to the service and it was beautiful. The bride looked lovely and it was very emotional. I get nervous at weddings. Couldn't say why, and so I hadn't eaten beforehand, figuring the 4-course breakfast would fill me up nicely. After the ceremony, we went straight into the venue to have drinks and sit down at tables. We were towards the back of the line into the venue, and so half of the congregation had already sat down. We glanced at the seating plan, saw Eric's name, and headed over. There was no place setting for me.
Huh?
Eric found his name, but there weren't any free seats at the table. Eric sat down and I asked an usher whether there was a mistake. What do you mean he just sat down like nothing happened? I really don't like how inconsiderate your boyfriend is towards you. He didn't know, so he waved over the bride. She and I had never met before, but she seemed friendly. Until she opened her mouth. Oh no, you're not part of the breakfast. The invitation was just for the reception and service. You're welcome to come back later.
I beg your finest pardon. What are you talking about?
That is so embarrassing. What do you mean your wedding has tears like it would be a freaking concert? Also, what's she supposed to do? She doesn't live here. She traveled here by train to be here for you on your wedding. This was in front of most of the guests who had already sat down in a big venue, probably 114-ish seats. The usher suggested I go to the pub. Yeah, sure, because it's so safe for women to sit alone in a pub. Eric didn't know what to do, but didn't want to cause a scene, so he stayed put and quiet.
Criminal offensive side eye.
Eric gave me the ick already when he sat down and he didn't care you didn't have a seat. Honestly, after that, I didn't expect him to stand up for you. And of course, he didn't. I quite literally have never felt so embarrassed and humiliated in my life. I left and it was raining heavily, hadn't brought an umbrella since it was an indoor wedding, and being in a rural place, I had to walk about 20 minutes to get anywhere else. The fact that they let you leave in heavy rain by yourself, it's pretty messed up. I can understand you felt embarrassed, but they are the ones who are embarrassing, not you. A couple's job on the wedding is literally to entertain their guests. They didn't just feel that basic thing, they literally pushed you out into the rain. What kind of human being does that to a guest who came here to celebrate them on their wedding?
Oh, that's a good question.
The usher had suggested a pub where the other guests are, so I just kept walking, but my shoes were literally ruined and soaked through, as well as being pretty damn cold because it's December and I was dressed for a wedding. Get to the pub to find a handful of merrymakers drinking heavily at 2 p.m. in wedding clothes, introduce myself kind of awkwardly as they were total strangers and they were luckily really nice. They invited me to sit with them and tell them about the service. all of them had only been invited to the reception. I don't know who came up with the idea that this would be acceptable. It is not. Invite as many guests as you could afford to be there on the whole thing. I asked one of them if I could see their invite, and it was crystal clear that they were evening guests. There was no mention of the service or the breakfast nor their dietary requirement. I apparently was the only person who was invited and then uninvited to the whole do. I would think that it was intentional, but you never met the bride or the groom, so it doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that to you? I sat with them and had some food because I was starving, but they all started leaving to get ready at about 4 p.m. Being a total stranger, I didn't think it was the best to ask to come with them, but I had never been to this town before, and besides Eric, I didn't know anybody.
That is messed up.
I don't even want to start on your boyfriend. He would be an ex if I were you. Since being ejected at 1:30 p.m.-ish, I was expected to just hang out until 7:30 p.m. when the reception started. Honestly, at this point, I would have just left to the train station. So I left. I feel so unwelcome and unwanted that I just wanted to go home. The evening do will start in about half an hour without me, but I just can't bring myself to attend knowing that half of the guests watch me being asked to leave by the bride herself. I traded in my train ticket, which was a return for tomorrow, and now I'm traveling back alone.
Well, because duh.
I would have done the exact same thing. I texted Eric to tell him, but he didn't respond. Girl, I really hope you're gonna dump his ass. The fact that he wasn't even concerned about your well-being is insane. I've been holding back tears since I was ejected 6 hours ago, and I feel completely torn. I don't understand what happened with the invite, whether it was a mistake or whether I was just supposed to know that it was only for Eric. Despite being addressed to the both of us, despite asking for both of our dietary requirements, despite explicitly stating we were invited to the whole wedding. Part of me feels like I should have gone to the evening reception too, but I'm soaked through, my hair and makeup look awful, my shoes are unwearable.
No, absolutely not.
I am barefoot on a really gross floor right now, and I'm freezing. I look a mess and I feel so stupid. I can understand you feel hurt, it is completely normal, but you did nothing wrong here. Did I mess up here? I feel like I've just been totally freaked over, and I'm really upset that Eric didn't stand up for me or say anything or leave the breakfast with me. Although I think that's less of because of malice and more that he's just a bit hopeless when put on the spot.
Not good enough.
I honestly feel like your boyfriend doesn't deserve you and you should dump him. After all that happened to you, he's the one I blame the most. I cannot imagine a loving man would let you live in a strange city by yourself in the rain. I've never heard of a wedding where you invite a plus one by name, but then they aren't invited to as much as of the wedding as the other half of the couple. Nobody else at the wedding had this happen. I don't see how it can be personal since I've never met any of them before. And this is why this whole wedding ordeal makes no sense. I'm really upset and can't wrap my head around how weird today has been. If this happened to you, what you would do? It's not much you could do about the wedding. Those people were complete strangers to you. What I would do is that I would break up with Eric. I cannot believe he just stood there, let you leave alone, and did nothing. You deserve someone who's on your side and stands up for you when it's necessary. Eric is not that guy.
And that's on period.
Edit. So this blew up way more than I expected. Thank you everyone for your words of support. It's really helped, and I've gone from a wobbly wet mess to a cackling harpy with my big glass of wine. I'm happy to hear you are at a better place after what happened. You guys don't hold back your opinions, and I kinda love it. It's now nearly bedtime here. Eric stayed at the party and presumably is still there. I came home and feel a lot better for knowing how bad a situation this was. I'm going to go to bed and sleep on it and think about next steps in the morning. A lot of people think I should dump Eric.
Oh, well, duh, right?
Whereas that had never crossed my mind. I was mostly pissed off with the bride and the maid of honor who may have been involved too. I don't know. The fact that you haven't even realized how bad your boyfriend's behavior was just shows me this wasn't the first time. Of course, everybody says you should dump him. Eric will be coming home sometime tomorrow and we are going to talk. I hope there's going to be the last conversation with him. I want to hear his piece because he's been drinking since lunchtime. He might be just a dum-dum rather than a full-blown a-hole. There is nothing he could say that would change my mind about him. Either way, no wind-up sudden decisions right now. I will try and come back and update as and when anything else happens. Thanks everyone. I mean, there is nothing else I can say. I hate Opie's boyfriend. Let's read some relevant comments because I can't be the only one. The person who messed up was the bride, who is an utter word I don't use, but she is, and Eric, who is appalling. I absolutely cannot believe that he didn't walk out with you. What the hell he was thinking? Did he used to date the bride or the bride's sister? Interesting question. I wonder if he did. Opie's answer, funny you say that. The maid of honor is his ex, although we were not aware until we saw her name in the wedding booklet at the ceremony that she would even be there.
Oh, hell no!
However, there is a lot of bad blood between them. If she was going to intervene to remove anybody, it would have been him.
You sure about that?
It was a way better revenge to remove you and see him doing nothing about it. Now the story makes so much more sense. Let's jump into the update. OP has a really long one. I hadn't expected the big reaction to my first post and just want to say thank you to everyone who gave advice and was supportive. I was feeling super bad when I initially posted, and after an hour of drinking wine and reading your comments, I felt a lot more sane and calm. I wanted to clarify a few things that people were confused about or that weren't clear in my first post. I am in the UK and our weddings are different to the way weddings are held in the US. Traditionally, there is a ceremony, the wedding breakfast, which is a sit-down 3-course meal. Although it's called breakfast, it is usually in the afternoon, followed by speeches and then an evening reception, which is like a disco. It's not uncommon for people to invite only relatives and close friends to the ceremony and breakfast, then invite lots of evening guests for the reception. However, it is uncommon to invite somebody to the ceremony and reception, but not the breakfast, as then they are kind of left to entertain themselves somewhere for 6 hours.
This is crazy.
I mean, okay, thanks for clarifying it. I still don't like it though. Having talked to friends and co-workers since last weekend, what happened to me was a serious no-no in terms of etiquette. Me and Eric have been together for nearly a year and a half. We live together and we have a pretty strong relationship. He had no past romantic connections with the bride. I call her Mary, which some people were asking about. They went to school together from the age of 4 to 9 and remained in touch as pen pals / Facebook friends since then. They rarely see each other in person, and the wedding was the first time he would see her in about 2 years. There was zero phone signal at the venue. We noticed this when we arrived for the ceremony and were a little annoyed as the wedding had a hashtag which we couldn't exactly tweet about with no signal. This is important later. This information just makes it more insane that Eric let you leave by yourself. We didn't know this until we arrived at the wedding, but the maid of honor Helen was Eric's ex-girlfriend. They were together for 3 years and she cheated on him and dumped him. They have a lot of bad blood and do not have any contact with each other. Okay, so on to the update. When I got home, I told my parents everything and they weren't particularly impressed, and like most of posters here, they were perplexed that Eric hadn't come with me. My mom gave me a big hug, ran me a bath and poured me a glass of wine, and I just tried to relax and forget about my day from hell. I still hadn't heard from Eric but texted him to let him know I was home safe and would see him tomorrow. Eric texted me back about 9 p.m. asking me what I meant by home or the Airbnb that we booked nearby the venue. So you wanna tell me that you didn't arrive back at the venue when you should have, and he still failed to go and look for you? I clarified and he said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow, love you so much, X. Didn't really know what to make of it since the whole day just have been a massive mess up, so I finished my wine, watched the Disney movie and went to bed. The next morning, given I still hadn't really heard from Eric at all, I assumed he would be getting in at about midday, so I got up early and started wrapping Christmas presents. At 8 a.m. I heard the key in the door, and what do you know, it's Eric, still in his creased suit with red eyes and looking like that. He wasn't really making sense, so I made him have a shower and warm up, made coffee and decided to talk once he was looking human again. Girl, you have so much more patience than me. We sat down together and pieced together his side of the story. Basically, once I had left, Eric was absolutely livid with Marie, and yet not livid enough to leave and go after you. He had frozen like a deer in headlights when she was asking me to go and was kicking himself that he hadn't done the right thing. About 10 minutes after I left, Marie turned around and said, oh, actually, a few people haven't turned up. Get Vicky to come back. We have space for her now. And Eric had tried to call me. Because there was no phone signal anywhere near the venue, he couldn't get through, and Marie pretty much immediately said, "Oh well, never mind, she didn't want to be here anyway," which obviously was a pile of crap and made Eric feel rubbish. Still not bad enough to leave the wedding and go after you though. The meal was a very formal sit-down affair, so he just kind of grinned and bared it, assuming I would be coming back in the evening. Eric was the only person mentioned in the speeches by Mary's father, who wasn't a family member, and apparently it was clear to everyone how disappointed he was that I wasn't there to share it with him. When I texted him at about 6 p.m. to let him know I was going home, he never received it. He was only able to text me at 9 p.m. by hiking down the road for 5 minutes to find the signal. That's ridiculous. Basically, he only needed to walk 5 minutes to find signal, and yet he was just sitting there the whole day not knowing what happened to you. All the while, his ex Helen was being sickly sweet, asking where I was, why didn't I want to come and enjoy the party, was I shy? Apparently with quite an evil glint in her eye, like she had got exactly what she'd wanted. But in the situation, she was just the organizer. Your boyfriend though, he was the executor. He was the one who didn't step up for you, and he was the one who stayed and let you leave. Neither of us knew she was the maid of honor until we got there, and given their bad relationship, Eric was pretty pissed off that Marie had failed to mention she had such a prominent role in the wedding. Whether Helen was behind the seating error, I don't know, but if she was, then Marie was just as bad in enabling it to happen. I mean, obviously, they did this together. So Eric stayed at the wedding miserably and went back to the Airbnb afterwards alone. He barely slept, feeling angry at Marie and Helen for freaking with us and at himself for not sticking up for me, and left at 4:30 a.m. to get at the first train home, hence why he was back at our place so early. He wasn't really apologetic to me at all. He didn't really seem to see how it was bad for me.
That's gonna be a yikes for me, dog.
What? Are you serious? You're done. Please tell me you broke up with him. He more felt like he had been insulted by the situation and let down by his oldest friend. He is cutting off Marie and doesn't want anything else to do with her. So yeah, that was Eric's take on the whole thing. To be honest, I was pretty pissed that in all of this, he hadn't really considered how I felt or what it had been like for me getting thrown out of the wedding. While what he had gone through was pretty crummy, at least he has been warm, dry, and well fed. The indignation of your girlfriend being removed from an event you are at isn't really as bad as being the girlfriend getting soaked in the rain, feeling humiliated, and all the rest. Him not seeing your point of view, having zero empathy towards you, not even apologizing. How are you in a relationship with someone who has so little care for you? He can be a little bit of a lemon sometimes, and this feels like one of those times. He didn't step up to the plate, he just let the world wash over him and acted as a bystander. I'm still hurt by his actions, and he still hasn't really apologized properly. After all of this, I don't think he will, or at least he won't mean it. I don't know if he understands that he did wrong too, but this isn't a deal breaker for me.
You need therapy!
And that's why this story is so tragic. It's a heavy straw on the camel's back, but the camel is still standing. We have a really lovely Christmas coming up, and after a really long autumn of working hard, all I want is to go back to the happy place we were before this mess up, and honestly, I don't want to think about it. So I know a lot of you guys are going to drag me over hot coals for this one, but we are still together. I won't. It just makes me sad that this is the standard you accept in your relationship. I am not going to break up with him over this, but it's a big dark mark on his record. As far as I'm concerned, he needs to get a lot of extra credit to get past this year, to use a terrible analogy, and I expect him to step up and really try to do better from now on. It's not really an ultimatum, but I'm willing to put this behind us if he can prove to me that he's invested in trying harder in this relationship from now on. If he doesn't, then I won't be sticking around. I love him a lot, but he needs to have my back and be empathetic to what I'm going through. I'm sorry that this wasn't the victorious breakup update so many of you wanted, but I want a nice happy Christmas together. I think Reddit just wants to see you happy because, girl, you have a pretty shitty boyfriend. Don't be mad at us because of it. I'm not ruling it out as an option if things don't improve, but I want to give him another chance to prove this relationship is worth it. And that's your prerogative. I hope it will work out. Come back and let us know. I hope you guys enjoyed today's story. If you did, don't forget to subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I reply them all. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.